that's in this.
So the person which name starts with A gets more votes because he's seen on the ballot paper first.
What we do is we tell people in different streets to vote differently to try and manage that, so try and equalise the vote between our two candidates. But people don't do that. Some do, but some people will go in and just vote, I'm voting SNP, or I'm voting Labour, I'm voting Tory, and they'll go down the paper, and if there's two candidates or three candidates from that party standing, they'll just go 1, 2, 3 in the order they appear. So, and this is an interesting point. The psephologists will be thoroughly excited when I get into this bit of anarchism now. There's an interesting debate is when you've got more than one candidate and you split the territory. So what you do is you give a larger share of the territory to the second alphabetical candidate, because some of the people in that area will not listen to you telling you to vote for that person first. They'll vote for whoever's first on the ballot paper. So we split it disproportionately in the hope that helps even up the vote between the two candidates. And then what you hope is that you get enough votes for both to be elected, or not few enough that one of your candidates gets eliminated, and that other people get eliminated before you, and you get transfers that come in. So you want to keep both your candidates in play, or three if you have three. So that's how much harder you want to pull off. So that was part of it. And the other problem we had was, as I was saying, because we were the only party with two candidates in that ward, some of the people, and it was a bigger problem in 2008, which was the first time we had the single transferable vote election, was people went in and voted with crosses, not numbers. So if you vote in an election with a cross instead of a number 1, they'll count your cross as a number 1. But if you go in and vote with 2 crosses, I'm voting for both of those candidates, you can't identify which is the preference vote. So the votes don't count. And sadly, Tam lost out by a smaller margin than we had 2 crosses.
So wait, if the person puts 2 crosses as opposed to putting numbers, then what happens again?
Their vote doesn't count.
The vote doesn't count, so he only has to vote for one.
One or more. One. Yeah, if they put 1 cross, the vote would count as a vote. If they put 2 crosses or 3 crosses, it doesn't count at all. And if they put a 1, 2, 3, you could vote for everybody on the ballot paper in the order that you like them. The vote would keep transferring until it exhausted. So your vote under STV can elect more than one person. But they have to vote for people in the order that they want them elected. And that's hard to explain to people on a quick 30-second or 2-minute conversation on a doorstep. And when it's the only election that you have using that system, and the other elections use crosses, people get it wrong.
Okay, so with the crosses system, when you put 2 crosses for 2 different candidates, it means that the vote doesn't count.
Doesn't count, no.
What do you mean by the vote doesn't count? It doesn't count for a certain party, or it doesn't count for any of them?
Doesn't count for anyone. It's the same if they put the same number twice. So say, for example, there's 7 candidates standing. You could rank each of those candidates in the order you like. 1 for your first choice, 2 for your second, all the way down to the person that you don't want, so you voted for everybody in front of them. That's the only negative vote you can give with STV, so you have to vote for everybody except the person or the person at the last. But if you mix up your numbers, because you're not putting them down 1, 2, 3 in the order they're on the ballot paper, you're going 1, 2 there, back up for 3. So people can, at some stage, particularly with the lower preferences, they know who they want first. That's usually pretty straightforward. They might know who their second choice is if they have one. But then once they get down to 4 or 5, you see people occasionally put 2 5s because they've lost count of where they've got to in the numbers. So it will count up to the point where there's 2 of the same. So it'll be a good vote, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it would be excluded if they had 2 5s. And it's the same with 2 X's. It just doesn't count for anyone because they can't attribute who the first preference is.
Makes sense.
So it's very frustrating. And I don't know how we how we educate.
And why did that happen? Why were the two of the people from the same party, your party, were running for the same council?
Well, in that election, the first single transferable vote, the multi-member wards were made up of the original previous single member wards. And in the area I was standing in, the town I was representing, there were 3 sitting councillors. 2 of us were SNP and 1 was a Tory, and we both stood. We came very close to winning 2 seats.
So you thought that there is a higher probability if you run 2 of the candidates for that specific council, rather than if you split, 1 runs for that council and 1 runs for this council?
Yes, well, there'll be other SNP candidates in the neighbouring seats. And the similar things happened there as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So we put up the 2. We almost got the 2, and we didn't. And that is the problem. What we now have is a slightly different problem. In that, I think, while it's still frustrating that people get the voting wrong, they put multiple crosses, or they get the numbers mixed up, or they vote alphabetically rather than for the individuals that we would like them to vote for in the order. The bigger problem the parties have now is transfers, and we're seeing that with by-elections. My party is still the most popular party in Scotland. We're not as high in the opinion polls as we were a few years ago. We're in the mid-30s at the moment, whereas you go back to 2015, we were pushing 50% of the vote. So we've dropped back a bit, and the problem that then gives us is
what's a transfer?
What is a transfer? Yes. Transfer is if a candidate for these STV elections, and this is the council, gets the quota in the first round, they're automatically elected. So if they are automatically elected, the votes they had above the quota would get transferred to the next candidate, the next choice that the people gave.
Makes sense.
If nobody
from the same party,
or whatever party that the people
from their second choice,
from the person's voter's second choice. In most cases where there's more than one candidate standing from a party, the majority of those second choices will be for the same party, but they won't all be. So it can change the outcome of the elections. If nobody gets elected, they eliminate the person at the bottom with the fewest votes, and their votes transfer to their next choice. And this process keeps going until all the available positions are filled, if it's 3 members or 4 members.
Right.
And it is a better system, but it would be a better system if it was the only system we used. The problem I think we have is that we have other elections under first past the post, which people have traditionally been used to. In the Scottish Parliament, we also have a list system where there are constituency members elected first past the post and other members returned on a top-up list system, which is a different system as well. Cognitively, the voter votes...
What's that about? What's this one about?
This system.
Yeah, well, cognitively, the voter votes with crosses on both ballot papers. They get 2 ballot papers for the Scottish Parliament. They get just like for Westminster, they get a constituency member and they vote with a cross, simple majority, whoever gets the most crosses wins. Right, that's easy. Then they have a regional list, and Scotland is split into 8 regions, and these regions will elect 7 or 8 members each, and it's a top-up to get a more proportional parliament. So what they do, it's for the anoraks out there in the world, it's the De Hont system. It's a version of the De Hont, a Dutch system of proportional representation. So they divide, and it's 2 separate ballots. So this is an important point to make. So you've got the constituency ballot and you've got the regional list ballot. So they're 2 separate ballots filled in by the voter at the same time and put into hopefully 2 different ballot boxes. If not, that gets sorted out of the count. It just slows things down. It doesn't, the votes get counted. It doesn't cause a problem that respect. It just delays it for the rest of us. But they put them in 2 separate boxes and they count the constituency ones first. So you know who's won the local constituency, just as they would for Westminster. Then they count the regional list votes and they count the full vote in each constituency and add them up across the entire region. So that might mean different local authority areas, counts happening in different places, and these results will be collated at one central point in each region. And they will then announce the regional list. And the regional list, each party that's standing on the regional list has pre-listed its candidates in the order they would like them elected. So the public don't get to pick which order the party candidates are. They just get to pick which party they would like these additional candidates to come from. And to allocate the seats, and this is where it gets, where you get your calculator out and it gets a bit complicated. They divide.
It's already got complicated.
It is, yes. It's a difficult one to work out what's happening on the night because you only see a fraction of what's going on. They divide the vote.
So it's basically okay, to sum everything up quickly.
Yes.
It's like putting two systems together.
Yes.
And then setting up a list of all the candidates.
Yes.
And then
this lists
all of the people who are at the top
the two votes are tied, although they're separate, because they divide the regional list vote by the number of seats that party has already won in the constituencies plus one.
Yeah,
right.
To make it representative.
And then whoever's got the most votes gets the top-up seat, and then they keep doing that until they've allocated the full list of top-up seats. So it's a fairly complex system. It does give a much more proportionate system. I think of the two proportionate systems, I prefer intellectually the single transferable vote because the power rests with the voter. The voter gets to pick whichever candidates they want in whichever order. So,
yeah.
But with the closed list system, they get a more proportionate parliament representing the political parties they want, but they don't get to pick the individual candidates because the parties pick the regional candidates. So for me, personally, I think single transferable is a fairer way of doing it, albeit a lot more complicated to count.
Yeah.